Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Quick look again at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. We're just going to jump right into the back-end data here and kind of see where we're at with liquidation levels. If you're new to the channel, even if you're not, hit the like button, comment below. Absolutely appreciate that. So we're taking a quick look here. 64,000, no surprise, was a pretty strong resistance level. We're going to look at this here on larger time frames and kind of see why that is the case. But generally speaking, we saw the price attempt to break that level twice and couldn't. That's essentially a double top. Price pulled back, and now we're seeing closer to 62,000. Keep in mind there is a CME gap as well. Just kind of throw it out there in case you're not familiar. You didn't catch my TikTok or YouTube shorts yesterday. You can kind of see right there as low as 61.1 is that lower end of that more recent CME gap, and also a previous two, a little smaller between 59.5 and 59. Or roughly 60,000. Okay, so just know those exist, and that's a very real thing for the price action to want to pull back to those levels to fill that gap before it continues on. And the reason why that happens is just because over the weekend, there's the price moves in a different direction while the market's closed. Yes, traditional markets are closed where Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is not, and you can see essentially that with the CME futures, there's that gap and there's a lot of profit to be taken there. So that's generally why the price action is pushed to those levels. Anyways, that's kind of a realistic thing. So me personally, I think this 0.618 fib level here at about 61.5 seems the most sensible for a bounce. It's also our more recent point of control if you look at the last roughly week's worth of trading. Okay, so just some things to kind of think about, and just to throw this out here as well, we're looking at the larger time frames too, just so you know, 56K and 68K. Those are the two key levels for specific heavy concentrations of liquidation, both to the upside or downside. We're a long ways away from both of them, but just letting you know that's the case. I would say 66,000 is a more relevant resistance level for us that we just want to be mindful of. That's the area I want to consider shorting just initially to catch some kind of pullback if it were to happen. Obviously, a lot of things can change between now and then. You don't just blindly short into a resistance, but generally speaking, that is proven to be a pretty strong resistance for us here relatively recent. So daily time frame, let's work our way down here. Let's check this out. So we got this SMA, 20-day SMA, kind of hanging out there as potential resistance level. We got to be mindful there. But we also got the 200-day SMA still down at that 58 to 59K range. So again, a lot of support at 58 to 59,000. 56,000 is possible still, keep that in mind, but I think it's less likely because I think we're going to need some kind of catalyst to get us there. Either way, MACD's trying to converge. Very good sign. We also have stochastic, which is converging, but we're under 50 on the RSI. When we see that happen, generally it implies that we haven't broken bullish yet, right? So me personally, being back up over 50 on the RSI, and then of course 50 on the simple moving average, which is right there at 66,000, roughly 500, I would say that's a positive, more contributing factor for us to want to go ahead and warrant a long position with confidence. Between now and then, you can still take a long to 66K, don't get me wrong, I think it's still possible. Bitcoin showing some decent strength here. We got a bullish backtest of this descending trend line here. That could very well be what we're looking for. Okay, me personally, 61.5 is an optimal entry, and we're getting very close to that. So again, I'm thinking that it might be a consideration, but we do probably want to wait for today's candlestick to close, because if you take a look here, you can see 50 on the RSI is getting tested right now. That's generally unfavorable when the price breaks below that level. Okay, so we want to stay above this here. In other words, when the price action broke through like it did this here on Saturday, the price action kind of hung out here. Ideally, in a perfect world, it just continues to kind of range between 50 and 70. That tells us we're bullish and the price is more likely to increase in the overall sense, generally establishing higher highs and higher lows. Between now and then, though, we got to be patient and wait it out. I think waiting until today's candlestick closes is probably an appropriate consideration. Also, consider the fact that we have a MACD divergence. Momentum is shifting from bullish to bearish on the short-term transitionary time frame here. So a lot of that stuff kind of swinging together, in addition to stochastic RSI getting close to its bottom. This does imply we could see a reversal in the price action bounce here soon, but it's still a little premature. We got that momentous push to the downside. We want to let it kind of finish its cycle, okay? So that's generally the concept there. And if you do kind of think about a cycle here, a TD sequential is a good way to kind of understand that. We're only 12 hours of continuation into the downtrend here, which implies we could have 6 more 4-hour candles, basically a full 24-hour period of bearish divergence before we bottom out. Again, my speculation, based on the most recent point of control and or range, is that 61,500 mark, this 0.618 fib level, as a bouncing point. Let's see here, 1-hour time frame. Let's quickly note here. Ichimoku cloud, we can confirm we're within the cloud now, also considered to be a no buy zone, but you can confirm that the lagging span being free and clear would give you some consideration for successful short. And what I mean by short is a very short short, if that makes sense. Not the kind the girls wear around here in Arizona, the kind that actually happens to happen very quickly. Okay, so a short short. In other words, you can do a short long too. Again, the first one is considered to be a duration, and I guess the best way to describe it is you don't want to hold on to your short for very long, is what I'm getting at. I don't think shorting all the way down to 56K from here is really appropriate or something you should try to do, because you got to secure profits between now and then. It's realistic to make sure that you are on the right track there and to secure profits whenever possible. And for right now, with this large candle, this aggressive candle, that's leading me to believe that we could be getting closer to the bottom, and we might see a slight relief rally here soon. Okay, so either way you look at it, what I'm getting at is if you're going to insist on taking a short, don't hold it for a very long time. Pay close attention to it. I think we are getting close to the bottom here, because again, when you look at this trend here, first of all, this most recent high, this range here roughly of about 62,000, we're testing that now. So the likelihood of the price bouncing from here is fairly high. There's also a likelihood of the price sweeping down just a little bit lower before it comes back up, just to naturally destroy any type of longs that have high leverage. It's a very, very common characteristic. All the more reason why we use low leverage, for example. In fact, if you take a look at our rune trade last night, we took a 5x trade, 22% in 9 hours. Okay, so again, those are the kind of trades that we like to take. Generally speaking, low leverage and or position size, you inherently carry less risk. If that was a 100x leverage trade, it probably would have been stopped out because the price pulled back before it jumped up again. All right, again, just the natural way that trading works. So anyway, so what I'm getting at here is this 0.618 fib level plus that point of control here. I feel like we're going to see some support in that range because, again, 0.5, 0.618 is a common support range, and it's also a previous resistance range. So generally speaking, we should see some support here. So me personally, I'm leaning more towards a long in the 61.5 to maybe 60,000 range as a rough estimate. Okay, just something I'm considering. And I know you're probably thinking out loud, wait a minute, well, if there's a CME gap at 61,100, why don't you just wait for it? Well, the truth is these levels here hold very strong in most cases, and Bitcoin is exuding a lot of bullish behavior. So how much further is it going to pull back before it legs up again? It may not, right? So again, me erring on the side of caution, I would say that getting in when you can is a good consideration. But again, you don't just go hard on your first entry. You maybe put 25, 30% total into that first entry, get some skin in the game, and then maybe add a little bit more at that key level here, perhaps in this case, that 0.618 fib. Again, those are just things that kind of cross my mind. Either way you look at it, that's where we're at. I do appreciate you watching. Thanks again so much for your time. We'll see you in the next one.